Okay, yay. Welcome back to the Waiting Well podcast. I'm so excited for this week's episode because we have a special guest with us. Meagan is a client who has been a close friend, who went through the Waiting Well framework with us back in the fall. And it was incredible timing. You guys are going to hear her story. And I feel like the Lord had such a purpose in the timing of her going through that. And so we're going to share her experience, kind of walk you through her testimonial of what God has done in her life as a result of being in this, but also what God what God revealed over the last year for her. So much has changed in her fertility journey. And I think it's going to really touch the hearts of those who have unique stories like Meagan. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear her story and her testimonial. Hey friends, welcome to the Waiting Well podcast. I am your host, Courtney Dunker, and you are here because your journey to motherhood has not looked the way that you always imagined. It has held heartbreak, loneliness, and questions like, why me, God? I'm here to remind you that you do not have to walk this road alone. And here we can wait well together. Each week, I will share faith-based encouragement from my own infertility journey, provide information from guest experts on navigating infertility and conceiving, powerful testimonies, and top tips on stewarding your health and emotional well-being through this demanding journey. So if you are ready to take back control of your life, find peace with God, join the in-between spaces, and thrive in your waiting season, then meet me at the well, girl. Grab that warm chocolate chip cookie, a little bit of unicorn juice or iced coffee. We've got some intentional growth to do. Let's get it. So Meagan, why don't you start us off with what was happening in your life kind of right when you joined the Waiting Well? I feel like you joined and then you heard news right before basically our first kickoff call, and that changed a lot in your life. So recap that for us.
Yeah, definitely, Courtney. So I joined the November cohort after one of the hardest moments of my life. In early October, my husband and I went through our third IUI, still holding on to hope. But at my follow-up appointment on October 29th, everything changed. After routine blood work and an intro ultrasound, our fertility specialist told us I was in menopause at 34 years old. And all I could hear was, I have no eggs left. It wasn't just a diagnosis. It felt like the loss of the future I had always imagined. In the days that followed, I felt completely lost. I didn't know where to take my grief, my questions, or my fear. So I opened Apple Podcasts and searched Christian women in fertility, just hoping to find something that could help me breathe again. That's when I found the Waiting Well framework. After listening to just one episode, I felt something I hadn't felt since my diagnosis: hope. And when I heard about the November cohort, the timing didn't feel random. It felt like a God wink. I remember telling my husband, I need this. I need support. I need something to keep me anchored in my faith through this. And I signed up that day. I didn't join because I was strong. I joined because I knew I wasn't. The sheer weight of what I'd been going through for the past 3 years had broken me in ways I didn't know how to fix. And looking back now, that program didn't just help me get through my diagnosis. It changed how I walk with God in the middle of it. It took me from feeling completely broken and lost to having peace, trust, and a faith that's deeper than it's ever been before. And that's something I'll carry with me for the rest of my life.
Not me already tearing up over here.
You're right.
You always make me emotional because the Lord's story through you. And
Yeah.
I know it's emotional because obviously what you're navigating in real life, what you have been navigating since that moment, but also what he is yet to do. I every time we talk, I hear your story even more, all the things that God has you currently walking through with your husband. I just know so deeply that he's not finished. And I'm so expectant of what he has coming for you guys. But most importantly, which is the whole purpose of the framework and of what we do here at the Waiting Well, is to transform and grow and heal our relationship with the Lord. Like above all else, like the goal is for us to say, like, even if you don't, Lord, like you are still good, and to truly mean that. So I love that you're already kind of highlighting that. Tell us a little bit about what took place as you got started. I know we did have a conversation. I don't know if you had this written, but we did have a conversation, like even after, I think it was like the first 2 weeks, you were kind of like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, so talk us through, what was it like getting started? What did God start shifting in you? And how has that framework, what did it look like processing in real time?
Yeah, definitely. And you're 100% right. The diagnosis impacted me in ways I wasn't prepared for, emotionally or spiritually. Emotionally, it felt like everything collapsed. It wasn't just a diagnosis, it was grieving the life I had always imagined. I felt shock, loss, and honestly, like something in me had failed as a woman. Spiritually, it shook me too. I had always trusted God, but in that moment, I didn't understand him. I found myself asking questions I never thought I would, like, why me? But even in that, I felt this quiet pull towards him. And looking back now, I can see that he met me there. What started as deep grief became a place of surrender. And while my circumstances didn't change, something in me did. I now have a deeper trust in God, a peace that I didn't have before, and the confidence that he's still writing my story with purpose. It didn't end me. It drew me closer to him. And if this is what drawn closer to him looks like, I wouldn't trade it.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And it's so true, right? It's like I did challenge you to kind of stay in it and work through those emotions, because even on the call, we could tell like the shutting down was kind of happening for a few weeks, but the Lord and his spirit was just so faithful to continue to minister to you. And we were able to see a lot of change happen over 8 weeks is technically quite a long time. Like you'll go through 2 periods, 2 months, all that kind of stuff. So talk us through what took place during your transformation. Like when did you notice things start to shift for you? What did God teach you? And where do you feel like he opened your eyes where those emotions did start to shift for you?
So definitely, yeah, it was like the first couple of weeks, I fell into a very deep depression. I felt like there was no purpose for me. I didn't see how any good could come of it. But God was so merciful. And that only lasted 2 weeks. And then I was able, and because you also challenged me to like, it's okay, like you don't need to have all the worksheets filled out or all the prompts, but just show up. And that for me was like a huge weight lifted off my chest. And I'm like, okay, I can show up. And then by week 3, I was in it and I was doing everything and really engaging in it and getting the most from it. And in the first 2 modules, I said previously, I was barely holding it together. I was sleeping through my pain because being awake felt unbearable. God lifted me out of my depression, I think primarily because he didn't want me to miss out on any of the heart work that we were doing with you, Court, because he knew that I would need these tools while I continue to wait and for any future struggles that I will face. And then the moment that changed everything for me was the biblical event. Writing out my pains, my grief, my anger, my struggle to accept a future I didn't choose, it broke me open. But in that breaking, I finally stopped running and I brought it to God. And that's where everything started to change. I have my lament next to me if we have time for me to share it.
Yeah, I remember on that call, we kind of were like, are we going to read these out loud? Are we going to, and you did. You read it to us and it was so powerful. So I'm happy to have you share it here. I think it can be super relatable, and it also kind of gives a little bit of a glimpse into what we do inside of the framework. So please feel free to share what you had written.
Yeah, definitely. that was the moment. I was like, oh my gosh, this course is worth every penny, because I'd never expressed my emotions in that way, in that raw way. I was like too afraid to say it out loud. So my biblical lament began with, Abba, I'm crying out to you from a place I never thought I'd be. I am 34, Lord, 34, and they speak of menopause as if it's just a medical label, as if it hasn't shattered something sacred inside of me. How can this be my story? How can my body be closing doors before I even have a chance to walk through them? My heart feels crushed under the weight of it. I want to weep. I want to ask you why my body betrayed me before I even understood what was happening. Where were you when the hot flashes started? When the labs came back wrong and my intra-ultrasound showed no signs of eggs within my ovaries? When the doctor's face softened because he knew the news would break me? Where were you when I realized my womb is growing quiet long before its time? Lord, I feel robbed of time, of innocence, of the future I prayed for, planned for, ached for. God, I am angry. I'm angry that something so natural for others has become a mountain I cannot climb. Angry that my body feels older than my soul. Angry that hope feels like it keeps slipping through my fingers. I see women who conceive effortlessly, women who complain about symptoms I long for. I feel the sting of grief, the heaviness of why not me. Yet even here, in this devastation, my heart keeps reaching for you. Even when I don't understand, even when I cannot see how any good can come from this, I still whisper your name, Jesus. Lord, hold me in this diagnosis that feels like an ending. Sit with me in the shock that won't lift. Steady me when my mind spirals and my chest tightens with fear. Show me that menopause is not the end of my story. Show me that you can bring life from places that look barren. Show me that motherhood, however it comes, can still be mine, still be holy, and still be written by your hand. Do not let this grief swallow me whole. Do not let my heart go numb. Don't let hope slip away from me entirely. Stay near, God of the brokenhearted. Stay near to this 34-year-old who feels much too young to carry a diagnosis this heavy.
It's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Meg. It's amazing to see what the Lord does. And I think one of the most powerful things, like you mentioned, is learning how, like going to scripture for our strategy of how to process what we're going through in real life. And I think a lot of times, especially in infertility, trying to conceive, like we can have all the appointments, we can have all the doctor's visits, we can have unlimited amount of resources to be like, here's the plan to baby. But it's like, are we actually pausing to process what we just heard? Are we processing on an emotional level, not just like what this means for us in our family and physically, but like, what does this mean in my relationship and how I've always viewed God, or how I always viewed my future or plans for our family? So as you kind of process what took place for you during the 8 weeks, the transformation that God did in your heart, what would you say for women that are listening, that are like, wow, I relate to that story. I also just received a diagnosis that has shifted everything for me. If you were to talk to you on the other end of the line, like what does that look like? What do you want to say to her?
So what I would say to a woman who had just received hard fertility news, if I could just sit with the woman who just received hard fertility news, I wouldn't try to fix it. I would just sit with her and say, this hurts. And it's okay that it hurts. You don't have to rush past the grief or try to be strong right now. This kind of news changes you, and it's okay if you feel completely undone. But I would also gently remind her of this. God is not distant from your pain. He is not sitting somewhere far away, untouched by what you're feeling. He stepped into suffering. He understands what it's like to hurt to grieve, to feel alone. So even if it feels like he's far away, he's actually closer than you think. And I know there are questions that don't have easy answers, like, why hasn't he fixed this? Or why is this my story? I've asked those too. But what I've learned is this: God doesn't waste suffering. He took the most painful, devastating moment in history and turned it into redemption. Somehow, in ways we can't always see yet, he's still doing that. So even though this feels like the end of everything, it's not the end of your story. God is still working. He is present, and he can hold you through this. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. Just don't walk through it alone, because the same God who understands your pain is the same God who will carry you through it. And I have a verse that goes with this: the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalms 34:18.
So amazing. Thank you for that encouragement. I know that that's going to speak to so many women. As you kind of think about your experience, what the Lord led you through, and then talking to that woman who's sitting there today listening, maybe she's a little bit, I don't know if you felt a little bit hesitant to enroll because even cost can play a factor, and explaining to your husband, your spouse, like why this is so necessary for you. Did you have any hesitations with that? And then what would you say to someone who might have those hesitations?
I absolutely did not have those hesitations whatsoever. I knew I needed this. And the fact that my faith was really at a teetering point, I wasn't sure if this was going to break my relationship with the Lord. And that was not okay for me. After my diagnosis, I knew I couldn't do this without God. But I also felt how easy it would be to become bitter, and that scared me. I didn't want this pain to pull me away from him. I wanted to grieve, but not in a way that would break my faith. I wanted to heal the right way. So when I found your program, it felt like it was exactly what I needed, because deep down I knew this could either break my faith or deepen it, and I was choosing to fight for it.
Love that. That's so powerful. And I think that's really what it comes down to, right? Is like being in a place of like saying, and I think you and I are very similar in that we are very committed and strong in our faith. Like I would argue that we are mature believers. And I think even for you, it was like, it's a really hard when like your faith that has been your literal cornerstone, like the Lord has been your cornerstone for your whole life. And then it gets rocked like this. And you're kind of in that place of like, I don't know what to do. And I feel like I was the person all my friends came to when they didn't know what to do. So It's super powerful to just be in that humble place of saying like, okay, Lord, I am here to learn, to grow, because I know that the thoughts that I'm thinking, the places that I am is not okay. I can't stay here. So, okay, looking back, is there anything else that you want to share with women who are navigating their own season? Anything you want to share about the framework, or any last thoughts that you want to share as we kind of wrap up?
So the Waiting Well framework helped me heal in unexpected ways. Honestly, what the Waiting Well helped me heal wasn't what I thought I was signing up for. I thought I was coming in to learn how to handle infertility, how to carry the grief, the disappointment, the unknown. But what it actually uncovered was something deeper. There was this quiet distance that had started to form between me and God, not because I stopped believing in him, but because I didn't understand him anymore. I didn't know how to reconcile who I believed he was with what I was living through. And I didn't even have the words for it at first. But through this process, something began to shift. I started to realize that God wasn't standing outside of my pain. He was inside of it with me. And that changed everything, because I stopped trying to hold everything together on my own. I stopped needing answers to feel okay. I stopped believing that my pain meant God had stepped away. And instead, I started to see that he had never left. that he was present in every tear, every question, every moment I felt like I was falling apart. And maybe the most unexpected healing was this. I didn't get clarity. I didn't get control. I didn't get the life I thought I would, but I got him. And I realized that even here, I am still held. From the Waiting Well podcast, the tools that we learned that I feel like are sticking with me and will carry me forward in my life. One of the biggest things I'm walking away with is that I actually have tools now. Before this, I felt like my emotions controlled me. If something triggered me, like a pregnancy announcement or a hard thought, I would spiral, and I didn't know how to stop. But now I know how to pause. I know how to separate what I'm feeling from what is true and bring both to God instead of letting them take me over. I've learned how to process my grief instead of avoiding it, how to sit with it, name it, and move through it in a healthy way. And honestly, learning how to lament, to actually bring my raw, honest emotions to God was huge for me. It gave me permission to be real with that. It gave me permission to be real with him without feeling like I was doing something wrong. I also carry a new way of thinking. Instead of immediately going to fear or comparison, I now catch those thoughts and realign them with the truth. And that's been life-changing, because now when something hard comes up, and it still does, I don't feel helpless anymore. I feel equipped, not because everything is fixed, because I finally know how to walk through it. Waiting well means to me today that waiting well means something completely different to me now. Before, waiting felt passive, like I was stuck between where I was, where I wanted to be. It felt frustrating, uncertain, and honestly, a little empty. But now I don't see waiting as wasted time. Waiting is where God has done some of his deepest work in me. It's where my faith has been stretched, where my trust has been refined, where I've learned how to keep living even without the answers I thought I needed. It doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean it doesn't still hurt. But I'm not just trying to survive this season anymore. I'm letting it change me. Waiting well, to me, means choosing to stay close to God, even when I don't understand what he's doing. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about trusting him in the middle of what isn't. And now I realize my life was never on hold. God was doing something too important to rush. I thought this season was taking everything from me, but it's where I found him. And a final verse to end this is, let perseverance finish its work so that you may become mature and complete, not lacking anything. James 1:4. Thanks again, Court. It was really great seeing you and talking with you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I truly feel like it will make the difference in someone else's life. It is incredible to see what God has done in your story, and just praise God for your story. Thank you so much for sharing. It is just incredible to see how far you have come. I'm so excited for what God has in store for you guys and the steps that you're taking in the future and all the ways that you're going to impact people with your story and your testimonial. I'm praising the Lord for you. So grateful for you. If you can relate to Meg's story and you are like, I know that I'm not okay. I know that I need to be a part of this. And you know that I need to get into this. I want to challenge you to head to the show notes right now, to not even hesitate, head to the show notes and enroll for our group that is kicking off the week after Easter. So obviously it's kicking off this next week. You will receive an email with information on the calls, and we will meet for 8 weeks. There is a powerful group that the Lord is putting together to come together and share our stories and talk through the content of the framework. I promise you, you will not leave this framework unchanged. The Lord is going to meet you in such a powerful way. So if you are ready to take action and say yes to this cohort that is starting off in April, make sure that you click the show notes and you click on Waiting Well Framework and register today. Cannot wait to see you in there and see what the Lord has in store for your journey in preparation for all the things that He has for your story of how He plans to grow and expand your family. Okay, we'll see you next week on the Waiting Well podcast. I am so glad that you chose to meet me at the well today. If this episode inspired you, changed you, or blessed you in some way, I would love for you to do one of two things. First, head to Apple Podcasts at that link below and leave a review. And second, screenshot this episode and share it in your stories, tagging me at Sown with Strength, or text it on over to a friend that this episode might bless. These are the number one ways to thank me. I am truly so grateful to be building out this community, and I cannot wait to see you on the next episode. Until then, go get a workout done for me, and I will see you right back here at the Waiting Well podcast.